I feel like ambition is a blessing and a curse because subconsciously your brain is telling you that the lifestyle you have right now is not what you actually want to be. You want so much more. You know you have more potential, but the flip side of this is that you don't know how to put it into action. You don't have the clarity of taking action every single day that moves you towards that reality you want to live. And I think that's the biggest curse about being ambitious. Is feeling like deep down you want something more, but your actions don't align with that person. Because I mean, like when I think about it, that's what motivation is. Motivation is like, you borrow someone else's progression. Maybe you watch an IG reel, maybe you watch, a YouTube video, maybe like this, but this is not really motivational. And you borrow someone else's progression, whether it's the way that they talk, the mindset that they have, the car they drive, the apartment they're in, the shirt they're wearing. But nothing about you actually changed. That is the difference between motivation and discipline, right? That's the difference between being ambitious and actually acting on that ambition, right? And it's like you want so much more, but you don't know what to do. And I know for me at least, like it legitimately felt like I was sleepwalking through life. Because when I was, when I thought about like what did I want out of life, I wanted so much. I wanted to be financially independent. I wanted to be able to travel whenever I want. I want to be the type of guy who can be like, yo, I'm going to be in LA next week. I don't really want to go to LA, honestly. It seems like a shithole, but just for example, right? I want to be in like a different country, right? That's something that I feel more drawn towards because I like traveling outside of the US. I'm in the States right now. I live in Miami, so maybe that tells you a little bit about me. But I want to be the type that can just live freely with no regrets, can do whatever I want without any restraint, without any, not restraint, constraints, right? Whether it's time, whether it's a responsibility, whether it's a liability, something holding me back. When I was honest with myself, like that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. And it was a curse because I didn't know how to put it into action. And you know what that caused me to do? Like for a very long period of my life, I felt completely nihilistic, meaning that I could not show any emotion at all. Like my mom would check up on me, my girl would check up on me, and they say like, "Are you doing all right?" And I'd just like put up a front. I'd lie. I'd say like, "Yeah, I'm doing fine," but in reality, like I just wasn't happy with the position I was at, and it showed because my actions didn't align. That was the missing piece, is that I wasn't willing to fully change into this new identity because I didn't know what it was. And honestly, it felt like I was wasting my life. Like I felt like every single day, I wouldn't like lose my mind, but just like be stressed, be constantly so stressed because I felt like with every scroll, like I get in like this bad habit of just doom scrolling for hours at a time. Like it'd be, when I'm tired or when I'm bored or when I'm anxious or stressed, I would just pick up my phone and get into this fucking rabbit hole. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, but scrolling for hours and getting so fed up. Even like, I remember when it was really bad, I was getting those, like when you're really deep in scrolling, like you're gonna get these notifications, like it's like a reel that either TikTok, I don't think Instagram has it because I never like got deep into doom scrolling on Instagram, but on TikTok at least, like if you're scrolling long enough, like bro, you're gonna get a reel that TikTok puts in that's saying like, do you want to keep scrolling? And like once I hit that point, I'm like, damn, I've been doing this for a while. And I start contemplating in my head, like I'm literally wasting my life. I look at the time, I'd see the time is like 2 a.m. I'm like, I gotta put my phone up. I gotta go to sleep. And when I try to go to sleep, I just couldn't because my brain was just so fried from so much dopamine at the time. And that's what my days kind of look like. It's just, I just felt like I was wasting my time here on this earth. And it sucked, and it just suppressed and killed any real emotions that I had and any ability to feel real dopamine, right? Like going for a walk. I couldn't take a walk without listening to music. I couldn't go for a drive without listening to a podcast or, again, music. I couldn't sit down and eat a meal without listening to YouTube, watching YouTube. It was just, I couldn't go a waking moment without any sort of artificial dopamine just playing in my ear. And it was so fucking constraining. Like I felt so dependent on something that was not real. It's not real, to be honest. The things that you see on social media, it's not real. It is the best moments of people's lives compiled into very short clips to give you the highest emotions. And every single time you scroll, you are training your brain to seek the highest emotions. That's why your brain is so fucked up. That's why my life was just so fucked up. That's why I had no emotions at all, because I was training my brain every single time to seek the highest emotions and only feel like fulfillment, only get laughs. Like I would, when I'm scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on IG, like I like laugh out loud sometimes, which feels kind of weird saying that out loud, but I laugh out loud sometimes, and I'm like, that was kind of funny. But then like real experiences in life, I'm like, I don't get that same feeling. And that's when I realized my brain was really fucked because I was getting more dopamine off of scrolling rather than real life events. And the real life events that I was doing, like going to the gym, I barely felt any confidence after doing that. I never felt clarity behind the things that I was doing on a daily basis, like just waking up earlier or, just trying to go to my classes when I was in college. Like I just felt like I couldn't do that because I didn't know where it was leading me. And I say like outside of scrolling too, it just fucked up my head in so many ways. And like scrolling is definitely one of the vices that I really struggle with, but something that I recall as well is porn. Or I guess you say on YouTube, corn. I don't know why. Maybe I get a fucking violation or a strike or something, but it like soft porn, even just going on IG too, like seeing girls shaking ass, it's soft porn. Like you're training your brain to think that this is how accessible you can get to women. Like it's so fucked up. And it doesn't teach you what real reality is. It teaches you to just expect results very, very fast. If it doesn't give you fulfillment, if it doesn't give you pleasure, if it doesn't give you dopamine up front, like you don't have interest in it. And when I try to sit down and watch a YouTube video and I couldn't listen to it without it being super emotional, like sparking a lot of emotion, like that's when I knew I was fucked. Because I just couldn't pay attention to shit. And I know for me, I was overthinking so much. Overthinking about what my next 5 years would look like. Because what I understand now that I wish I did back then, luckily, like I had the delusion that I knew everything was gonna work out. I knew I would get to the right mental state where I could find dopamine in doing the smallest things. I could live a lifestyle where I live in Miami, Florida. I have a nice apartment. It's in a high-rise building right in downtown. Like I could only dream about doing these things a year ago, and I'm living out this reality right now. Like my girl, she flew down to Miami a week ago, and being able, like this is a girl I've been dating for the past 3 years. I asked her to be my girlfriend in senior year of high school. We grew up in the same high school together. Like I only knew her, like we went to the same school we went to the same high school, same middle school, and it wasn't until our senior year, like that's when I first like talked to her. But I always like thought she was like out of my league. It feels weird saying that because I'm out of high school now, and like saying out of your league is feels kind of gay to say, but I mean that's how I felt. Like I just felt like she was out of my league, and I don't know, like I bagged her, right? I bagged her, and we were dating. Really, really good girl for me, and she's seen me through my highest highs, my lowest lows, and I'd say the number one thing that you want to do as a boyfriend, as a husband even, because I only date with an intent for marriage, and eventually later down the line I do see myself marrying this girl. But the biggest thing that you want to do is be able to provide the world to your girl, be able to show her around new places, give her experiences, be able to make her not have to worry about the little things like, can we go out to dinner? Can we afford this nice t-shirt? Like the little things like that. And when I flew out to Miami last week, I was able to like provide her cool experiences, able to, be able to have her in my apartment here, be able to take her out to like little shopping centers and, go shopping and not really have to worry too much about how much we're spending. And that feels freeing to me because I used to visualize and dream about doing that even a year ago. And that, like, I always had this delusion that I knew it was going to work out, but I wish I knew that I was taking life so unseriously. Because the actions that I was doing back then, when I was just being a complete degen, I was scoring a fuck ton, I was on porn, I was just training my mind for failure, was like the thing that I wish I knew is that the inputs that I was doing back then, you know, it was leading me to the outcome that I had right there. Like, you know, training my mind to seek instant dopamine, you know, not getting any real fulfillment or any real pleasure from doing the things that are congruent towards my long-term goals. Like, I got no fulfillment off of going to classes for college. I got no fulfillment off of going to the gym because I don't know why it mattered to me. But I just expected everything so immediate. I just thought like life was just you know, I don't want to say a game because I think it is a game. That is a good reframe. But I just took it so unserious. I wasn't intentional. I would say that's a better word for it. I wasn't intentional with the way that I was doing things. And that's what I would tell my younger self is that you got to be more intentional. You got to be more fucking intentional, because I was just sleepwalking through life, and I just thought that everything would just work out, which it did, but it wasn't until I made it a lot more intentional and I gave myself a reason, like an anchor why to move forward and a game plan going forward. And I was able to surround myself with people who have the lifestyle, who have the things that I want, so I can see how they did it. And if I was brutally honest with myself, I wish I got myself out of being stuck in that feeling for a very long time. It was like this brain fog feeling, right? Where again, you just feel like mentally numb. You feel like you have ambition to do more, but you don't know how to put that ambition into action. And again, I would tell myself that time is very scarce, money is abundant, and you have infinite opportunities, and never, never, never just, you know, sit on your ass. Never overthinking about things that haven't happened yet. Because I was a big overthinker too. Because again, that's what you got to understand, that every single action that you've done, every single action you've taken to this point in your life has led you to where you're at right now. If you're happy with the results you have in your lifestyle you're living out right now, then I don't think you would be watching this far in this video, to be honest. But if you're not, this is probably hitting you, right? But you got to understand that the actions you're taking right now, they aren't congruent towards where you could be, because it's been some time, bro. Like, I'm 21 years old. Maybe you're a little bit younger, a little bit older than me, but it's been some time. And one thing about like compounding effects, bro, like the lifestyle you live right now, it's not too crazy. Like it's not too different from where you lived like a year ago. So bro, if you haven't changed anything from just a year ago, then the result you're living right now, this is your own fault. You gotta finally take accountability. And once I took accountability and stopped blaming everything else except, you know, just taking accountability for what I was living right there and saying, you know what, maybe the people that I see online living the lifestyle that I want, or maybe they're not lucky. Like, they just stayed committed and consistent long enough. They had something that was working for them. They had an identity that they wanted to work towards, and they were able to get to that position. That was what I was missing, to be honest. And one thing I want you to understand about the brain fog, one thing I want you to understand about the nihilism, right? The emptiness feeling, the ambition without action, is honestly a good sign. Because your subconscious mind is telling you that the things you're doing right now, the lifestyle you have right now, the way it's leading you, like on a subconscious level, right? Like, I'm sure like maybe this is waking you up right now. Maybe this video is giving you some clarity right now. But the way you're living, it's not congruent towards who you could be. That's why when you're sitting in your bed at night and you're like, damn, another day got wasted. Yeah, another fucking day got wasted, because none of the things that you did today actually moved you forward. And I'm not talking about solving world hunger in one day, but can you move even 1% closer towards a reality you actually want to live? Because be honest with yourself. Every single day that you spend sleepwalking, not being intentional about every single action that you do every single day, is another 24 hours that you sacrifice of the dream state, the dream life that you want to live. Because time is very finite. Time is very finite. You do not have an infinite amount of hours on this earth. So you just sleepwalking through life right now, if you're blessed enough to be in your early 20s, or even, you know, going into your 20s, maybe you're 19 or 18, You have the opportunity right now to be a lot more intentional about the things you're doing right now. Because I'm sure you see this online too. Like randomly I see videos, because it's like this red pill awareness, this woke feeling where you're like, damn, I gotta be more intentional. Maybe this video is giving you that right now. Maybe you've seen a couple of videos like this before where you're like, I need to wake up. I need to do something better. You're actually in the transition. You're actually in the, I guess like, not funnel. What do I say for this? I say transition. You're in the transition of being a lot more fucking intentional and you know, putting action towards the lifestyle you actually want to live. You're in the transition of doing that. And I always saw like videos of these older guys, like 30, 40 years old, saying, damn, I just woke up for the first time. I'm like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed that I was able to wake up at, I think I was like 19, where I was like, damn, I've literally just been sleepwalking my entire life. Like literally just no intention at all, just living every single day, letting the wind just blow me wherever it took me, and not being intentional about anything that I did. And I'm like, it's a blessing. So if you're watching this, this is a blessing. And I kind of want to break down, just like reflecting on the changes that I've made throughout the years to really break free from that state. I want to give you what I did in this video. Very, very specific. A lot of value that I wish I heard. I wish I heard this specific information back then, because it's very, very applicable. If you've resonated, if you've listened far enough in this video, this will really help you out. So I guess I want to break it down to like 3 different parts. So the first thing that I did was just had a lot more structure in my day, because I never had a Google Calendar. I never, like, if I had classes, I had classes. I would just like memorize my schedule. It's not too hard to memorize like 5 classes a week, bro. If I had a doctor's appointment, that'd be the first time I used my Google Calendar. If I had you know, usually how my days went was like, if I got a text from my boys on Snapchat saying, hey, we're gonna hoop at 8 o'clock, pull up. Or maybe I told myself I'm gonna wake up at 7 and hit a workout, and like I'd do that. But I just had no structure in my day. I had no action plan. I had no reason to wake up every single day. I had no like, okay, 8 a.m. you're gonna do this, 9 a.m. like you're gonna hit your first meal, whatever, right? And I wanna break it down in a method that I use right now. And I use this method that, you know, I built it through my own trials and my own trial and error. And it's something that I use with my clients right now, because you know, this is what I do. I help people that were once in my position, because I think you are most qualified to help the people you once were. And, you know, I'm able to give a lot of time back, a lot of money back, a lot of less headache to the people who are waking up and saying like, fuck, I'm not happy with where I want to be at, and I actually want to make a change. So I'm going to give you some sauce right here. So I use something called the 5-4-5 method with my clients. And the 5-4-5 method is 5 macro goals you're working towards. And macro means like bigger picture, meaning that, okay, what's the exact number that I want to have in my bank account? Like I'm talking about like specific numbers, and I'm talking about like literally visualize this. I still do this. Like I visualize the things, because I'm not at the level that I want to be at. But I started to like use ChatGPT to modify and edit my bank statements. So I literally saw the numbers in my account. I'm like, that's not crazy. I literally see the numbers right there. Why did that feel impossible in my head? And I'm telling you, like throughout just repetition and seeing it over and over and over again, it reinforces your subconscious mind to realize like, damn, that's not that hard. Like that's literally normal. Like you only make it seem some crazy goal because like you have your own limitations. To someone who has like, if your goal is like $1 million in your bank account, right? If someone, you know, a multi-millionaire, and they look in their bank and they see only $1 million, they're like, what the fuck? What happened? Like you're obviously there's levels to life, but you only have that limiting belief. Like that is all it is. It's just a limiting belief. Because I'm telling you, the human mind is so fucking strong. And I like to think about I think it's bipolar or something. It's like a disorder. You know what I'm talking about? Like the people in this world who have two split personalities. Like they're either really confident, really happy, really well put together, and then the other personality, like the other day, they're a complete fucking mess. And that tells you how strong the human mind is and how much your mind really affects who you are. So are your current beliefs benefiting you or holding you back? And again, that's what I ask myself when I ask myself those goals. Another thing with goals, right? And I won't dive too specific for it, but another thing with goals is that do you want these things? Do you want these goals? Do you want this life because you want others to see that you have it? Or do you want it because you want it for yourself? You will actually get fulfillment off of, having those things in your life. It'll actually give you happiness, and you'll be prideful of those achievements. And once I asked myself those questions, once I was truthful and I self-isolated and I stopped letting the voices and thoughts of everyone else around me try to impose my own beliefs, and I just sat and asked, like, what do I actually want in this life? Then I was able to actually feel like I could work towards that every single day regardless of how I feel. Back to the 5-4-5. So 5 macro goals. It's a 4-step simple morning routine that reflects on those goals. Example: wake up, hydrate, journal, do push-ups, do a cold shower, and how these reflect on your goals, right? So you hydrate. It reflects on your health goals. Everyone wants to be in the best possible shape they can. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. I think your physique is a physical representation of your delayed gratification. So health, water reflects on your health goals because you dehydrate over the night. What I say? You journal. It reflects on your mindset, right? You kind of like spill out your thoughts. You kind of write down your thoughts in a more specific format, or maybe you rewrite your goals to reinforce your subconscious mind that this is the actions that I have to take every single day that moves me congruently towards the person I want to be. So that's journaling, and then so on, right? So a 4-step simple morning routine, and then it's 5 needle moving tasks that you can do every single day to move you closer towards that desired reality. And again, you're not solving world hunger in one day, but simply just, did I do 30 minutes of training today? Did I track my macros and calories? If you have a certain physique goal that looks like you losing weight, right? Just things that you can do no matter what. Like 5 needle moving tasks is law. This happens no matter what. This is the bare minimum because there is no preset standards in life for you. No one tells you that this, unless you're employed and you have to get a certain number of sandwiches made for your Jimmy John's job, right? Just a random example. No one tells you like very specific things that you should be doing. So within your own life, like if you're gonna let someone boss you around and tell you the things that you have to do in your fucking 9-to-5 job, the minimum wage job, like, bro, then why not give yourself your own non-negotiables, your own task, your own standard that you have to do every single day? Why hold the standard of a corporate, if you're working a 9-to-5, because I used to work in a place called Witch, like a sandwich making restaurant. I used to work in a place called Foot Locker. Everyone knows Foot Locker. It's like a shoe store. What else did I work? I worked in a place called Clean Eats. It's like this meal prep company. Every single big company, they have standards because your goals can never be as big as the systems you have put in place to get you there. So they have their own systems, they have their own standards, but you don't have that in your personal life. Yet you have the expectations, you have the dreams of living like a big company like Foot Locker. It doesn't fucking make sense. You don't set those own standards. You don't set that your own process in your own life. But you're quick to let someone else boss you around to hit the standards of their goals. It doesn't fucking make sense. Like, literally ask yourself that question. And I guess the next thing that the second point I want to kind of emphasize on for how I made this change is just the mental reframe that needs to happen, that if you are doing that protocol, if you are being more intentional, if you have a system that you have in your life, if you are committed and consistent long enough, you will get to your desired reality. And again, I tell you that story earlier about my girl flying out to Miami, I flew her out. That feels good to say. I tell you that story only because These are things that I used to visualize a year ago. In fact, a year ago exactly today was the first time I've ever came down to Miami. I came down for a mastermind event to meet other like-minded entrepreneurs. And that weekend, I fell in love with the city. That's literally the reason why I moved down here. It's because I came here, I visited some boys, I came for a mastermind event, and it literally changed my life. It changed my life, and I said, this is the city that I want to move to. And I was able to live it out for a weekend. I was able to visualize every single day, and I was able to set my standard to make me realize that this is the level that I have to operate on to be able to live the life that I live right now. I'm telling you, over time, with enough commitment and enough consistency, I was able to just move down here like I am right now. Like, I'm literally living in my dream city, my dream lifestyle that I used to visualize a year ago. Like, my parents are flying out next week. And I remember in college, I didn't really like my parents visiting because I didn't want them to see the lifestyle that I live. Like, I wasn't too proud about what I was doing in college, but bro, best believe when they come out to Miami, like, I'm gonna show them a good time. Like, I know the city well. Now I've been here for 6 months, and like, I'm very proud to have them fly down and see my lifestyle here. And another thing I want to touch on when it comes to just like the second point about staying committed and consistent long enough is, no matter how you feel, like, I used to feel like the things that I was doing, I was just shooting darts, like, just in the dark, right? If you stay committed and consistent long enough, the inputs that you do right now, the outcome has no other choice but to show up in your life. If you are behaving, if you're acting, if you're believing the way that the man that you have in your head, this dream state you have for yourself, if you are aligning yourself with that person, then he has no other choice but to come into reality. Because reality is what you make of it. And there's something called, there's a really good book that I read, Transurfing in 78 Days by Vadim Zealand. Write that down. It's quite literally one of the best books that I've ever read. But he talks about something called not the vanity space. It's like I would say like a vanity space, right? Like, it's a kind of neurological term. I don't really know. I'm not going to describe this the best, but like a neurological term is basically saying that everything in your head, like, there's this, like, it's kind of how reality is. Like, you can make up things in your head that don't exist, but you can bring them into reality, right? That's a good way to explain it. Like flying to the moon, right? That was unimaginable for people who lived 500 years ago, right? But all of a sudden, one day, it came a thought in someone's mind in the vanity space. Again, I don't know if that's what it is verbatim, but like, you get the idea. It became a thought in someone's vanity space a year ago, and every single day they took action that aligned with putting someone on the moon one day until it came into reality. So that's how you got to think about your own life. The reality that you want right now, create it in your head, and it has no other choice but to come into the life you live right now. If you act congruent enough with that person, you will become him. And the last point I want to give you as far as like the change that I made was, it was more of a shift in my identity. Because I used to think that I had an addiction to scrolling on my phone, right? I feel like I could never break that. But it wasn't until I understood the specific characteristics, the specific behaviors, the specific, even like physical, mental, within my communication, right? Those specific details about the identity that I wanted compared to what I had right now. And this is an activity that I make my clients do when they initially, we start working together. I make them build out for me, it'd be like a Ferris 1 and a Ferris 2, their alternate realities. The reality they're living right now is their I guess you could say, like, Ferris 2. The reality they don't want to live. Like, if I was living a reality that I hated. And their reality that they want to live in is their Ferris 1. And specific characteristics. Is that person scrolling IG? Does he look for instant dopamine? Does he look for, or does he look for the things that take time? Does he wake up in the morning and pick up his phone? What is his morning routine like? Like very, very specific things. Like, is he charismatic? What do people think about him when they meet him for the first time? What is the first impression, right? Very, very specific things that you can match this identity with. Kind of like relating on the concept I told you about the vanity space, where you have this thing that isn't in reality yet, that you kind of create very, very detailed. You build that identity. The identity starts to shift in your head on a subconscious level, and every single action that you take on a daily basis starts to match and mesh with that person until reality has no other choice but to give you that person. Like that's how that shit works. And it's crazy because I watch it play out in my own life. But I feel like I've been kind of rambling on this video a little bit. I think this is like one of the longer videos that I had, but I think this has been just straight value. I made this with an intent to, if my younger self was watching. So hopefully you took some value from this. Hopefully this hit home if you needed to hear it. But again, like this is what I do. I have a book a call link in the description of this video where, you know, you and I can get on a call together. I want to hear a little bit more about your situation. If you resonated with the things that I said in this video, then obviously, you know, I've walked in your shoes before. I'm currently helping people go through the same exact problems you're navigating right now. And I think the greatest thing that you can do as a man is kill off your ego and say that the more that you know, the more you realize you know nothing. And say that if someone has the mindset, has the lifestyle, has the beliefs, you know, the emotional state that I want, then why would I not listen to that person? So yeah, that book a call link, it's gonna, you know, we get on a call together and I can show you the systems, I can show you how I can help out, and we can see whether or not you'd be a good fit for my mentorship and working with me one-on-one, where I give you, again, like this is through my own trial and error. This is through, you know, me working with countless guys one-on-one, refining this system over and over again for specific situations, being able to provide personalized, like an action plan, a personalized structure for your exact goals, your exact day-to-day life, so you can seamlessly hit those goals and you can seamlessly transform that identity. So it gets you to that state with half the time, half the headache, and of course, like half the money of you doing it at your own. But I won't say like seamlessly getting you to that state, because it's gonna take time. It's gonna, like, you are gonna put in work, because I don't care to tell you something that's gonna be quick and it's gonna be easy, it's gonna be fun. But if you're actually committed to a change, if you actually are looking for a way to, you know, break free from the current state that you're at right now, if you're not happy with, you know, the things that I might have told you in this video, but the link is in the description of this video. So I look forward to talking to you, and I will see you later. Peace.